Hi guys, this is Mrs. Tucker. This is the review for operations with rational numbers to get you guys ready for the test. And at the end, there's also a review if you're going to be I want you to do the entire review, but the review is really focused on retesting for our last unit, which was comparing and ordering and scientific notation. Okay? I'm going to try to go through this fairly fast, but give you time to stop the video. So at any time that you need me to stop, you are welcome to stop me. You just pause. Just hit that pause. Okay, number 1 says, Hernando has 10 1/4 pounds of ground sirloin to grill hamburgers for a barbecue. How many 1/4 pound burgers can he make? If we're talking 1/4 pound burgers, that's 1/4 of a pound. Okay, let's say this represents 1 pound right here. I'm going to divide that into fourths, divide that into 4 equal pieces. That's a 1/4 pound, that's a 1/4 pound, that's a 1/4 pound, that's a 1/4 pound. Each pound of burger makes 4 patties. This pound of burger is going to make 4 patties. You have 10 of these, and each of those 10 pounds makes 4 burgers. So you can figure out how many patties that makes. Plus, don't forget you have another 1/4 of a pound of hamburger left. It's real easy to figure this one out. Mathematically, here's what you're doing. You're taking your total amount, 10 1/4, and you're dividing it into 1/4 size pieces. How many pieces do you make? How many patties? Don't forget, you need to change this to improper first, and then dividing fractions is easy as pie. Flip the second fraction and multiply. Okay? Number 2, Susie has an average of 77 on 4 quiz grades. If Susie wants to raise her quiz average to 80, this should say write an equation that could be used to find the grade she needs to make on her 5th quiz, Okay, well, you guys know how to calculate an average. Your average is take all the quiz scores, add them up and get a sum, divide by the number of quizzes you have, and that gives you your average. Well, they told us we have an average of 77, so we're going to put that in there. Okay? And that's for how many quizzes? Yep. Let's put that in there. So I have the sum of the quiz scores divided by 4 equals 77. All right? Now, she doesn't like the 77. She wants this to change to what? Yeah, she wants her average to be an 80, not a 77. So let's actually cross that out and change it to what? Yeah, let's change that to an 80. Okay? Now that 80 is the average not for 4 quizzes, but for what? For 5 quizzes. So we're going to change that number to what? Yep, we're going to change that to a 5. And now I'm going to rewrite this whole thing so it's nice and pretty. Here's where we started. Here's what we've got right now. The sum divided by 5 equals 80. I changed this number. I changed this number. If I take a 5th quiz, is my sum going to stay the same? No, that's not going to stay the same. My sum, I'm going to have to add on the score from the 5th quiz. So we've got 2. I'm going to say, I don't know what that score is. I'm going to say let x equal the 5th quiz score. So my original sum for 4 quizzes plus what? Yep, plus what I got on my 5th quiz. Add those together, that gives you your new sum. Divide that by 5 quizzes. I want that to equal 80. Okay? Well, we've got one more step. I need to know what that number is. And you can calculate that based on this right here. And I want to show you how. I don't know what the sum is. I'm just going to cover that up with a box. Some number divided by 4 is 77. Well, okay, I know you guys know that 2 times 3 gives you 6. I know you guys know that 3 times 2 gives you 6. What if you don't know what this is, but you know that if you take this number and divide by 3, you get 2 as your answer? Or if you take this number and divide by 2, you get 3 as an answer. How do you work backwards to figure out what goes in the box? Yeah, you take these two and multiply them together. Right here, some number divided by 4 gives me 77. So how do you work backwards to figure out what goes in the box? Yeah, you multiply those two together. So you're going to multiply those two together, and whatever answer you get right here goes right here. You're going to remove the word sum, and you're going to put that answer right there, and you're going to box it in because you just wrote your first equation. Maybe it's not your first. Maybe it is. Number 3, a recipe that makes 2½ dozen cookies requires 1 3/4 cup of sugar. Amber wants to make 7½ dozen cookies. How many cups of sugar does she need? If I can figure out what's the relationship between 2½ to 7½, I don't know, did it get 2 times bigger? Did it get 3 times bigger? Did it get 4 times bigger? If I can figure out that relationship, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this number by that same number to figure out my new cups of sugar. And don't forget, when you're multiplying by a mixed number, you've got to change it to improper first. Multiplying fractions is no problem. Tops times tops and bottoms times bottoms. Number 4, Cameron uses 1/4 of his allowance on gas for his car, 1/8 of his allowance to wash his car, and spent the rest at the movies. If his allowance was $30, how much money did he spend at the movies? This whole bar represents his allowance, and 100% of this bar is the $30 allowance that he got. Well, it says he spent 1/4 of it on gas. So let's break that up into 4 equal pieces. 1/4 of that was for gas. Right there. That 1/4 was spent on gas. 1/8 of his allowance was used to wash his car. Well, we've got 4ths. Let's break this whole thing up into 8ths. If you take your 4ths and divide those in half, now we have 8 equal pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1/8 went to the car, to washing his car. This amount was left over for the movies. How many 8ths is that? Well, if you add these two together and get a common denominator, between 4 and 8, what's your common denominator? I know you know what goes here. 4 times what gives you 8? Yep, 2. What's 2/8 plus 1/8? 3/8. You can see that this right here, from here to here, is 3/8. So if this right here represents 8/8, then the part of his money that went to the movies was how many 8ths? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that was 5/8. I just took this whole bar, this $30, and divided it up into 8 equal pieces, and 5 of those pieces were spent at the movies. Think you guys can figure this up now? Yeah, you sure can. I know you can do it with the model. That's easy to do. Or you can do it this way. 5/8 of, there's my of, $30. Okay? Do it either way. And your answer is going to be in dollars. Number 5, Chance is building a pen in the backyard for his pig. How many feet of fencing does he need if his pen's going to be 11 3/4 feet by 8 1/3 feet? Well, what's the shape of the pen? Yep, it's going to be a rectangle. It's 11 3/4 this way, 8 1/3 this way. Where does fencing go if I'm making a pen? Yeah, it goes around the outside. We call that what? Yeah, that's your perimeter. So to calculate your perimeter, it's this length plus this length plus this length plus that one. Add them all up, and you know how many feet of fencing you need. Don't forget you need common denominators. Football team has a large cooler containing 7 1/3 gallons of cold water. After practice, only 1/2 of a gallon remained in the cooler. How much did the team drink? It went from 7 1/3 to 1/2 a gallon. All of this highlighted in blue is what they drank. What kind of problem is this? Yeah, that's subtraction. Don't forget you have to have common denominators. All right, your next step. Yep, 3 times 2 is 6, so multiply your numerator. 2 times 3 is 6, multiply your numerator. All right, I have 2/6, and I'm removing 3/6 from it, and I can't do that because that'll give me a negative number, and I don't want to go there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to borrow a whole from the 7, and I'm going to make the 7 a 6. And see that whole that I borrowed? I'm going to break it up into 6 equal pieces. I've got 6/6 here to go along with the 2/6 I originally had right here, and you add those together and you get what? Yeah, your 8/6. Now you can take 8/6 and subtract your 3/6 and get so many 6 right here. And then take your 6 and subtract, well, there's no whole number here, we'll call it 0. 6 subtract 0, and that number goes here. And your answer is going to be in gallons. All right, Brandy measured the diameter of 5 of her roses to find out their average diameter. The measurements were, and here's all your measurements, and I'm going to list them all out here. She decides not to use the smallest or the largest. Okay, you've got to cross off the smallest and the largest. Which are you going to cross off? Which one of these is the largest? I hope I crossed off the right one. It looks like, let's see, 10, 10, 13 is my largest. Which one of these is my smallest? Yep, it's that one there. Okay, what is the average diameter of the remaining roses? Well, you have to add these remaining up, add it up, and then divide by what? Yep, divide by 3. Add those up, divide by 3. Yeah, I crossed off the wrong one originally. Okay, 4 friends agreed to split the cost of food and entertainment evenly. They spent $33.20 for food and $25.20 for entertainment. What did I do here to add them up? Yeah, line up your decimal point. Find the amount that each of the 4 friends paid. Get this amount here and then divide it by what? Yeah, divide it by 4. Okay? Your answer will be in dollars. All right, on the back side, the standard skateboard ball bearings measure 7 millimeters in diameter. This is approximately 0.315 inches. Which fraction is closest to this decimal? Okay, I've got these all in fraction form, but this answer is in decimal form. Guess what we're going to do with all these fractions? Yeah, we're going to convert them to decimals. I hope you have at least 2 of these memorized, because if you don't, you're going to be doing all of this math. I hope you have some of them memorized. I hope you have that one memorized, and I hope you have that one memorized. But in case you don't, you're going to do that, and you're going to do that. Convert these all to decimal form and find out which one is closest to 0.315. Which of the following is the shortest distance? Okay, I've got 2 fractions and I've got 2 decimals, and I really think we need to change all of these to decimal form. I hope you have this one memorized, Stephanie. I hope you have this one memorized also. It'll make life a lot easier on you if you get some of those baseline fraction decimal conversions memorized. Then you're looking for the shortest, so you're looking for the smallest of the three decimals. I know that's kind of hard sometimes to tell. Line your decimals up like this. Put your decimal points here. 6, 6, 7. I know I have 0.605. Which one is smaller? 605 or 667? I know you know that one's smaller. Compare it to the other two decimals you get to find which one's the smallest. Okay, 4 friends are playing baseball. Paul hits 3 out of every 7 pitches. 3/7. Nick hits 4 out of every 10 pitches. 4/10. I know that's 4/10 also. That's easy to convert. George hits 5 out of every 14. Carl hits 2 out of every 5 pitches. Hope you have that one memorized. Stephanie, what's 2/5 as a decimal? Okay, I hope you got it, girl, because then you won't have to do as much long division. Which boy has the worst batting record? You want the one that's the smallest fraction, okay? Put your numerator in here, your denominator out here. Do the same thing here for Paul. I hope you have these memorized. And then you're going to pick the smallest of the numbers. Number 4, which of the numbers is greater than negative 1.905? And do you notice how they're all negative? This is really difficult to do, I think. So what I want you to do, set up a number line. And I want you to write down all of your numbers. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one, negative 2.03. I want you to graph it as a positive first. Where's 2.03 on this number line? Yeah, just a smidge past the number 2. Now I know where 2.03 is on the number line. We're going to go back that same distance on the opposite side of 0. So from here to here is positive 2.03. I need to go in the opposite direction, the same distance. So I know negative 2.03 is right there. Okay? So we're reflecting it across 0. That's what we're going to do. Write down all of your numbers, including this one right here. Make them all positive and graph the positives first, and then reflect them across the 0. Okay, I'm going to do one more with you. Let's graph this one right here. Okay, we've taken care of that one. Positive 1.9 is just shy of 2. So here's 1.9. From this side of 0, it's this far. Let's go the same distance on the opposite side and graph where negative 1.9 is. And it falls right there. Do that with all of these numbers. And then the number that's greater than negative 9.05 is the one that's closest to 0, because these numbers keep getting bigger the closer to 0 they get if they're negative. Okay, so that's your job to do this. Draw your number line. Okay, the Proxima Centauri, the closest star to our own, is still 3.995 times 10 to the 13th kilometers away. Write this number in standard notation. All right, first thing I'm going to do is look at the exponent. Is it positive or is it negative? If it's negative, it's a small number, and you'll move the decimal point going that way. If it's positive, it's a big number, and you're going to move the decimal point going this way, 13 places. Okay, well, it's a positive number, so I'm going to move that decimal point 13 places and make it big. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Keep going. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. What goes in all the dips? Yeah, some zeros. Don't forget to throw in your commas and you'll have your answer. Several stores are having sales. The prices are reduced by 62.5%, 2/3, 75%, 1/2, and 7/10. Order the price reductions from greatest to least. Here's all my numbers. They're in percents, fractions, just percents and fractions. Let's convert them all to the same form. I like decimals. Let's change them all to decimals. Well, the percents, the definition of percent is out of 100. So that means 62.5 divided by 100. This means 75 divided by 100. What does dividing by 100 do to your decimal point? Yeah, it makes it 2 places smaller. 0.625. This is going to become what? Yep. And these ones you should have memorized. You should have those memorized. Now you're going to order them from what? Greatest to least. That's what it says. All right, not a problem. All right, which list shown is in order from greatest to least? And the thing I notice is in each one of these lists, we have the same numbers, and I have 3 positives and 2 negatives. I know for sure the negatives are the smallest because they go on this side. And all of these positives are bigger than negatives, so they're going to go over here since we're ordering greatest to least. Okay? Go ahead and plot these on the number line. Now this is a backwards number line. If you want to do it a regular old number line first, like this, 0, 1's out here, -1's out here, and then pick your numbers in order and go backwards, that's probably what you should do instead. But make sure you pick the order that's greatest to least. And I definitely know, looking at that list, positives are greater than negatives, so it definitely could not be this one because these negatives are smaller than any of those. Okay? All right. Forbes magazine says that Bill Gates has a net worth of $61 billion. I don't know how long ago this was. He's probably worth more now. Write this number in scientific notation. This is a very large number, so the exponent on my 10 is going to be positive. The factor out front has to be between 1 and 10. So I'm going to pick up this decimal point and I'm going to move it right here. So I get 6.1. Now your exponent, you just count how many places you moved it. Be careful. This is where kids make mistakes. So now count it over. See how far it takes you. That number goes right here. Microscopic view of the West Nile virus. 42 nanometers is 0.0000000042. Write this number in scientific notation. Is that a big number or is that a small number? Yeah, that's incredibly small. So what's the exponent on my power of 10 going to be, positive or negative? Yep, it's going to be negative. The factor out front here has to be 1, greater than 1, or less than 10. So I'm going to pick up this decimal point and put it where in the number? If I put it here, that's 0.42. That's not bigger than 1. If I put it here, that's 42. That's greater than 10. That's not allowed. I'm going to put it right here. 4.2. The number that goes in the box now is how far you move the decimal point. Be careful when you count. All right, good luck with this, guys. Be ready for that test tomorrow.